She begged him not to remove the cloth hiding her face. But when he did, his hands started shaking, not from fear but from a truth she never expected. Rain poured down that November evening like the sky itself was crying. 28-year-old Maya loved rainy days. She'd roll down her car window just a bit to smell that fresh, earthy scent. Her mind wandered to tomorrow's presentation at work. She was a graphic designer and her new project was finally ready to show the team. The traffic light turned green. Maya pressed the gas pedal gently, humming along to the song on the radio. Life felt good. Really good. Her boyfriend David had been acting strange lately, always smiling at his phone, being extra sweet. She suspected he might propose soon. The thought made her heart skip a beat. Then everything changed in a single second. Bright headlights came from the left side. Too fast, too close. Maya didn't even have time to scream. The sound of metal crushing against metal filled her ears. Glass shattered everywhere. Her car spun like a toy. Pain exploded through her body, especially her face. Then darkness swallowed everything. She woke up 3 days later. The hospital room was white and sterile. Machines beeped around her. Her mother sat in the corner chair, eyes red from crying. When their eyes met, her mother tried to smile, but fresh tears rolled down her cheeks instead. "Mom?" Maya's voice came out rough and strange. Her mother rushed to her side, carefully avoiding touching her face. "Oh, sweetheart, you're awake. Thank God you're awake. What happened? My face. Why does my face hurt so much?" Her mother's expression said everything words couldn't. Maya tried to lift her hand to touch her face, but her mother gently stopped her. "Don't, baby. Not yet, let me get the doctor." The doctor came in with a kind face but serious eyes. He explained everything slowly. A drunk driver had run a red light. The impact was on the driver's side. Her face took most of the damage. They'd done 3 surgeries already. They'd saved her life, but the scarring was severe, especially on the left side. Maya felt numb. She asked for a mirror. The doctor hesitated. Her mother started crying harder. But Maya insisted. She needed to see. When they finally brought a mirror, Maya understood why everyone looked so sad. The right side of her face looked mostly normal, just some bruising. But the left side, deep red scars ran from her forehead down to her jaw, burns mixed with cuts that had been stitched together. The skin looked different, damaged, forever changed. She stared at her reflection for a long time. This couldn't be her. This couldn't be the face she'd had just days ago. The face that smiled easily that David said he loved to wake up next to. "We can do more surgeries," the doctor said gently. "Reconstructive work. It won't be perfect, but we can improve it significantly over time." Maya handed the mirror back without a word. She turned to face the wall and didn't speak for the rest of the day. David visited that evening. She heard him talking to her mother outside the room first. His voice sounded strained, worried. When he walked in, he tried so hard to act normal. Too hard. "Hey, you," he said softly, sitting in the chair far from her bed. "You scared me. I thought I'd lost you." Maya kept her face turned away. "Maybe you should have. Don't say that. Don't ever say that." But even as he spoke, she noticed he wasn't looking at her. His eyes kept darting to the window, the floor, anywhere but her face. He stayed for 20 minutes talking about nothing important. When he left, he kissed her forehead quickly on the good side and promised to come back tomorrow. The nurse came in later to change her bandages. The woman was professional and gentle, but Maya saw the quick flash of shock in her eyes when she first removed the old dressing. It was the same look everyone had, pity mixed with relief that it wasn't them. That night, Maya made a decision. She asked the nurse for something, anything, to cover her face. The nurse brought a soft silk cloth. Maya carefully draped it over the left side, securing it with medical tape. Looking in the mirror again, she felt slightly better. The cloth hid the worst of it. People wouldn't have to see. She wouldn't have to see their reactions. 3 weeks passed in the hospital. David came every day, but his visits got shorter. Her friends called, but she didn't answer. Her co-workers sent flowers and cards, but she threw them away without reading them. Her mother tried to encourage her to talk to a therapist. Maya refused. The only constant was the cloth. She kept it on every moment she was awake, even changed it to clean ones without ever looking at what was underneath. The day she was discharged, her mother helped her to the car. Maya wore large sunglasses and the cloth covered her face. She walked quickly, head down, terrified someone might see her. The drive home felt eternal. Every stoplight, every pedestrian crossing, every car that passed reminded her of that night. Her mother tried to make small talk, but Maya stayed silent. When they pulled into her apartment building, Maya's heart sank. Her neighbor, Mrs. Chen, was watering plants in the hallway, the sweet old lady who always asked about her day. Maya couldn't face her. She waited in the car until Mrs. Chen went back inside. Her apartment felt different. Everything was exactly where she'd left it. But it all seemed to belong to a different person, a different life. Photos on the walls showed a smiling woman she didn't recognize anymore. That Maya was gone. David had cleaned the place and stocked her fridge. A note on the counter said he'd come by later. Maya crumpled it and threw it away. She walked to her bedroom mirror. Slowly, carefully, she removed the sunglasses. Then her hand hovered over the cloth. Could she look? Did she want to see again? No, not yet. Maybe not ever. She left the cloth in place and crawled into bed even though it was only 2 in the afternoon. Sleep was the only escape from this nightmare. At least in dreams, she still had her old face. Days blended together. Her mother came every morning to check on her. David visited most evenings. But Maya felt like she was watching her life from behind glass. Nothing felt real. Nothing felt right. 2 months after the accident, David sat her down for a serious talk. She could tell by his voice. This was it. He was leaving. Maya, we need to talk. She kept her back to him, the cloth perfectly positioned. I know. You know what? That you're breaking up with me. It's okay. I understand. There was a long silence. Then David said something she didn't expect. I'm not breaking up with you. I'm worried about you. You won't talk to anyone. You won't leave the apartment. You barely eat. This isn't about your face, Maya. This is about you disappearing, and I don't know how to help you come back. His words hung in the air. Maya felt tears soaking into her cloth, but she didn't turn around. If she turned around, if he really saw her, everything would change. Better to keep the distance. Better to stay hidden. I think you should go, she whispered. Maya, please. Just go. He didn't fight. She heard him stand, heard his footsteps, heard the door close. Only then did she allow herself to cry properly. She cried for the life she'd lost, for the face she'd never have again, for the future that seemed impossible now. The cloth was soaked with tears, but she didn't remove it. It was her shield, her protection. As long as she wore it, she could pretend the world couldn't hurt her anymore. But deep down, she knew the truth. The world wasn't hurting her. She was hurting herself. 3 months after the accident, Maya's apartment had become her entire world. The same 4 walls, the same furniture, the same routine every day. Wake up, wear the cloth, avoid mirrors, pretend to be fine when her mother called. Her savings were running low. Her boss had been understanding at first, giving her medical leave. But eventually, the company needed to fill her position. They'd offered her a part-time remote job instead. Maya had declined. The thought of video calls, even with the cloth, terrified her. Her phone buzzed constantly with messages from friends. Hey, haven't heard from you in forever. When can we meet up? Are you okay? She deleted them all without responding. What could she say? That she was hiding from life? That she couldn't bear the thought of seeing pity in their eyes? One afternoon, her younger sister Lily showed up unannounced. She had a key to Maya's apartment for emergencies. She used it. Maya was sitting on the couch in the dark when Lily walked in. Her sister turned on the lights and gasped. Maya, what are you doing? It's 3 in the afternoon. I like it dark. Lily sat down next to her, studying her face. The cloth was there, as always. Lily reached out to touch it, but Maya pulled back sharply. Don't. Maya, this isn't healthy. You can't just hide forever. Watch me. Lily's eyes filled with tears. At 23, she'd always looked up to Maya, her confident, successful big sister who seemed to have life figured out. Now that person was gone, replaced by someone who lived in shadows. I miss you, Lily said quietly. The real you. Remember when we used to go to that coffee shop every Sunday? When we'd spend hours just talking and laughing? You had the worst jokes, but you made everyone smile. Where did that person go? Maya felt something crack inside her chest. That person had a different face. No, Lily said firmly. That person had the same heart, the same soul, the same terrible sense of humor. Those things don't change because of scars. But Maya didn't believe her. How could she? When she looked in the mirror, she saw a monster. How could anyone see anything else? Lily stayed for 2 hours trying to convince Maya to come outside, to see a therapist, to do anything besides sit in the dark. Maya agreed to nothing. Finally, Lily left, but not before making Maya promise to at least think about it. That night, David called. He'd been giving Maya space, but he still checked in regularly. They talked briefly. Maya kept the conversation surface level. Yes, she was eating. No, she didn't need anything. Yes, she'd think about therapy. All lies. After the call ended, Maya walked to her bathroom. She stood in front of the mirror for a long time. Her hand reached up to the cloth. She'd become so used to it now it felt like part of her. But underneath was the truth she couldn't face. She pulled the cloth away slowly. The scars looked better than they had in the hospital. Some redness had faded. The swelling was down. But they were still there. Still visible. Still wrong. She stared at herself until tears made everything blur. Then she replaced the cloth and went back to bed. Days continued to pass in the same pattern. Her mother brought groceries. Lily sent encouraging texts. David called. But Maya remained locked in her apartment, locked in her fear. Then one day her mother arrived with someone else. A woman named Dr. Rachel, who specialized in trauma counseling. Maya wanted to be angry, but she was too tired. Dr. Rachel didn't push. She sat calmly and talked about everyday things. The weather. A book she was reading. A funny thing her dog had done. She didn't mention the accident, the scars, or the cloth. She just existed in the space with Maya. Before leaving, Dr. Rachel left her card. No pressure. But if you ever want to talk, I'm here. About anything. Maya threw the card in the trash. Then at 3 a.m, she dug it out and stared at it until sunrise. A week later, she called. Their first session was awkward. Maya sat with her back to the video camera, cloth in place. Dr. Rachel didn't comment on it. They talked about small things. What Maya used to enjoy. What her days looked like now. Do you ever go outside? Dr. Rachel asked gently. No. Why not? Maya's hands clenched. Because people will stare. They'll point. They'll feel sorry for me. I can't handle that. Have you tested that theory? I don't need to. I've seen how people look at me. Dr. Rachel paused thoughtfully. What if I told you that most people are too wrapped up in their own lives to notice as much as you think? I wouldn't believe you, fair enough. But would you be willing to try something? Just once? Maya was skeptical, but she agreed to a small challenge. Next week, she would step outside her apartment building. Just to the front door. For 1 minute. That was all. The week crawled by. Maya almost backed out a dozen times. But something inside her, some tiny spark she thought had died, pushed her forward. The morning came. Her mother offered to come, but Maya declined. This was something she needed to do alone. She put on loose clothing and a hoodie. The cloth was secure. Large sunglasses hid most of her face. She looked at herself in the mirror and saw a person trying very hard to disappear. Her hand shook as she reached for the doorknob. She hadn't opened this door in months except to let her mother in. The hallway beyond seemed frightening, foreign. She opened the door. The hallway was empty, thank God. Each step toward the elevator felt like walking through mud. Her heart pounded so hard she thought it might explode. The elevator ride down felt eternal. The building's front door had glass panels. She could see the street beyond. People walking. Cars passing. Normal life continuing as if hers hadn't stopped. She pushed the door open. Fresh air hit her face. The sounds of the city surrounded her. A dog barked somewhere. Someone laughed. Traffic hummed. She stood there for exactly 60 seconds, counting each one. Nobody stared. Nobody pointed. Most people walked right past without looking. Then she turned and practically ran back inside. Back in her apartment, she locked the door and leaned against it, breathing hard. She'd done it. She'd gone outside. It felt both monumental and pathetically small at the same time. When she told Dr. Rachel in their next session, the therapist smiled warmly. That took courage. Real courage. It was 1 minute. It was 1 minute more than yesterday. That's progress, progress. Maya hadn't thought about progress in so long. She'd been stuck in survival mode, just trying to get through each day. Over the next few weeks, Dr. Rachel introduced new ideas. What if the cloth wasn't protecting Maya? What if it was actually keeping her trapped? What if the fear was worse than the reality? Maya wasn't ready to remove it. Not even close. But she started to wonder, started to think, started to consider that maybe, just maybe, there was a life beyond these walls. David asked if he could visit. Maya said yes, but only if he promised not to push her about anything. He agreed. When he arrived, he brought her favorite takeout. They ate together in comfortable silence. He didn't ask about the cloth. He didn't suggest therapy or doctors or going outside. He just sat with her. "I've been thinking," he said eventually. "About us." "About everything." Maya's stomach dropped. Here it came. The breakup. The rejection. The inevitable goodbye. But David didn't say what Maya expected. Instead, he said something that caught her completely off guard. "I've been thinking about how I've handled this whole situation, and I realized I've been terrible at it." Maya frowned under her cloth. "What do you mean?" "I mean, I've been so worried about saying the wrong thing or doing the wrong thing that I haven't really been present. I've been treating you like you're fragile, like you might break if I'm not careful. But that's not fair to you." He set down his food and looked at her directly even though she was turned halfway away. "You're the strongest person I know. You survived something that would destroy most people, but I've been tiptoeing around you instead of just being real, instead of being the partner you need." Maya felt tears building behind her eyes. "David, you don't have to—" "I want to," he interrupted gently. "I want to be here. Not out of obligation, not out of pity, but because I love you. I've loved you for 3 years and that hasn't changed." "You don't even look at me anymore," Maya whispered. David was quiet for a long moment. "You're right, and I'm ashamed of that. But it wasn't because of your scars. It was because I didn't know how to help you and that scared me. I felt helpless. Every time I saw your pain I wanted to fix it, but I couldn't. So I looked away because looking at you meant facing my own failure." His honesty broke something open in Maya's chest. She'd been so focused on her own fear, she hadn't considered his. "I don't need you to fix me," she said quietly. "I'm not sure I can be fixed." "You're not broken," David replied. "You're hurt." There's a difference. They sat in silence for a while, both processing. Then David did something he hadn't done in months. He moved closer and took her hand. Not tentatively, not carefully, but firmly, like he meant it. "I'm going to be here," he said, "for as long as you'll have me. And I'm going to stop treating you like glass." Maya squeezed his hand back. It felt good, real, like a connection she'd been missing. The next week, Dr. Rachel suggested something new.
"Have you thought about joining a support group?"
People who've been through similar experiences? Maya's immediate reaction was no. Absolutely not. The thought of sitting in a room with strangers, being seen, being vulnerable, terrified her. "Just think about it," Dr. Rachel said. "No pressure." But the idea stuck in Maya's mind. Other people who understood. People who'd survived trauma and could relate to her fear. Maybe they'd found ways to cope that could help her too. It took another 3 weeks before she agreed to try. Just once. If she hated it, she never had to go back. The support group met in a community center basement. Maya arrived 15 minutes early, wearing her cloth and sunglasses. The room was empty except for the group leader, a woman in her 40s named Patricia. "Welcome," Patricia said warmly. "First time?" Maya nodded, unable to speak. "That's brave. The first meeting is always the hardest. You can sit wherever you're comfortable. You don't have to share if you don't want to. Just listen. That's enough." As others arrived, Maya noticed something. Many of them had visible scars too. Burns, disfigurements, missing limbs. And they weren't hiding. They walked in confidently, greeting each other like old friends. The meeting started. People shared their stories. A man named Tom talked about the fire that had burned 60% of his body. A woman named Keisha described the car crash that had crushed her face. A young guy named Alex discussed the explosion at his workplace that had cost him an eye and part of his jaw. Each story was devastating. But none of them spoke with self-pity. They talked about challenges, yes, bad days, stares from strangers, dating struggles, job discrimination. But they also talked about resilience, about learning to live again, about finding strength they didn't know they had. When it was Maya's turn to share, she shook her head. "I'm not ready." "That's okay," Patricia said kindly. "Maybe next time." But at the end of the meeting, several people came up to her. They welcomed her, told her she wasn't alone, gave her their numbers in case she wanted to talk. No one asked to see under her cloth. No one pushed. Driving home, Maya felt something unfamiliar. Not happiness exactly, but maybe the beginning of hope. She went to the next meeting. And the next? Each time she learned something new. Tom taught her breathing exercises for panic attacks. Keisha shared makeup techniques for covering scars. Alex made her laugh with dark humor about his situation. Slowly, carefully, Maya started to emerge from her shell. She began taking longer walks outside. She answered some text messages. She even had a video call with an old coworker, though she kept her camera angled to show only her good side. Her mother cried when Maya agreed to come for dinner at her parents' house. It would be the first time she'd left her apartment for a social event since the accident. The dinner was harder than expected. Her father tried so hard not to react to the cloth that it was obvious. Her younger brother asked too many questions. But Lily was there, and her presence made everything easier. After dinner, Lily pulled her aside. "I'm proud of you. For eating dinner? For showing up. For trying." That's huge. David started bringing Maya to his apartment sometimes. They'd cook together, watch movies, fall asleep on his couch. It felt almost normal. Almost like before. One evening, after a particularly good day, Maya stood in David's bathroom looking at herself in the mirror. The cloth was there, as always. But her eyes looked different. Less haunted. Less afraid. Her hand reached up to touch the cloth. She'd been wearing it for so long now it felt like part of her body. But Dr. Rachel's words echoed in her mind. What if the cloth isn't protecting you? What if it's keeping you trapped? She pulled the cloth away just for a moment. The scars were still there, of course. But somehow they didn't look quite as monstrous as before. They looked like what they were. Evidence of survival. Proof that she'd lived through something terrible. She heard David moving around in the kitchen. Part of her wanted to walk out there without the cloth, to let him see, but fear gripped her chest. Not yet, but maybe soon. She replaced the cloth and went to join him. "Everything okay?" he asked. "Yeah," she said, and for the first time in months she almost meant it. 4 months after joining the support group, Maya received an unexpected message. Patricia, the group leader, was organizing a social event. A picnic in the park. Nothing formal, just a chance for everyone to hang out outside the usual meeting space. Maya's first instinct was to decline. A park meant people, strangers, families with children who might stare. But Tom texted her separately. "Come on, we'll stick together. It'll be fun." She agreed before she could talk herself out of it. The day of the picnic, Maya changed clothes 5 times. Everything felt wrong. Too revealing. Too attention-seeking. Finally, she settled on a simple blue shirt and jeans. The cloth was in place, secured perfectly. Sunglasses. Deep breath. David offered to come with her, but she declined. This was something she needed to do with her group. He understood. The park was beautiful. Trees provided shade, children played on swings in the distance, and the smell of barbecue filled the air. Patricia had claimed a group of picnic tables near the pond. About 15 people from the group were there, plus some family members. Everyone greeted Maya warmly. Tom introduced her to his wife, a cheerful woman who hugged Maya like they were old friends. Keisha was teaching someone's kid how to make a flower crown. For the first few hours, Maya stayed on the edges, watching, observing, noticing something important. People were staring at the group, yes, but not with horror or disgust, more with curiosity, and most people didn't stare long. They glanced and moved on with their lives. "See?" Tom said, catching her expression. "Most folks don't care as much as you think." "Some do," Maya countered, nodding toward a mother who was pulling her child away from their area. "Sure," Tom agreed. "Some people are rude or ignorant. But that's their problem, not ours. We can't control how others react. We can only control how we respond." His words made sense, but Maya still felt exposed. Vulnerable. Like everyone could see right through her cloth to the broken person underneath. Later, Alex organized an impromptu volleyball game. Maya declined to play but watched from the sideline. Seeing these people with their scars, their prosthetics, their visible differences, running around, laughing, living, something shifted inside her. They weren't hiding. They weren't letting their trauma define them. They were just people trying to enjoy a sunny afternoon. On the drive home, Maya cried. Not from sadness, but from something else. Relief, maybe. Or recognition. Recognition that there might be a way forward. That evening, David came over with dinner. They ate on her small balcony watching the sunset. She told him about the picnic, about Tom's words, about the mother with the child. "Do you think I'll ever be normal again?" she asked quietly. David considered the question carefully. I don't think normal is the right word. I think you'll be yourself again. A different version, maybe, but still you. The scars changed your face, but they don't have to change who you are inside. But what if they already have? Then you figure out who this new version of Maya is. And I'll be here, getting to know her too. His acceptance felt like a warm blanket. Maya leaned her head on his shoulder, and they sat in comfortable silence as the sky turned from orange to purple to dark. The next support group meeting, Maya did something she'd never done before. She shared, not much, just a few sentences about how hard the past months had been, but saying it out loud in front of people who understood felt like releasing pressure from a valve. Patricia smiled at her encouragingly. Thank you for sharing. That took courage. After the meeting, Keisha approached her. Hey, a few of us are going to grab coffee. Want to come? Maya hesitated. Coffee meant a public place. More people. More potential stares. But she thought about the picnic. About Tom's words. About David's faith in her. Okay, she said. I'll come. The coffee shop was small and cozy. Their group of 5 settled into a corner booth. At first, Maya felt hyper-aware of everyone around them. The college students studying. The couple on a date. The businessman on his laptop. Were they looking? Judging? But as conversation flowed, she relaxed. They talked about everything except their scars. Movies, music, terrible bosses, family drama, normal things. Human things. Keisha told a story about her cat that had everyone laughing so hard they were crying. Alex complained about his dating app disasters. Tom showed pictures of his newborn granddaughter. Maya felt something she hadn't felt in months. Joy. Pure, uncomplicated joy. When they left the coffee shop 2 hours later, Maya realized she'd forgotten to be afraid. For 2 whole hours, she'd just existed, just been a person having coffee with friends. That night, she called Lily. Remember how you said you missed the old me? Yeah, I think she might still be in here somewhere. Lily's voice broke with emotion. She never left. You just forgot her for a while. Over the next few weeks, Maya pushed herself harder. She went to a movie theater with David. She had lunch with her mother at a restaurant. She even video called with an old friend from work. Camera on. Though she kept the cloth in place. Each outing was exhausting. Each interaction required energy she barely had. But each time it got slightly easier. The fear got slightly smaller. Dr. Rachel noticed the change. You're doing remarkable work, Maya. It doesn't feel remarkable. It feels like I'm just barely surviving. Growth rarely feels like growth when you're in it. It's only when you look back that you see how far you've come. One evening, David invited Maya to his parents' house for dinner. She'd met them before the accident and they'd been kind. But facing them now terrified her. What if they're different? She asked David. What if they treat me like I'm broken? Then we leave, David said simply. But I don't think they will. They're good people. The dinner was awkward at first. David's mother tried too hard to act normal. His father avoided looking at Maya's covered face. But as the evening progressed, things relaxed. They asked about her art, her plans, her interests, not about her scars or her recovery. David's younger sister, barely 16, said something that stuck with Maya. I think you're really brave. Like, seriously. I can't imagine going through what you did. I'm not brave, Maya said. I'm just trying to get through each day. That is brave, the girl insisted. Bravery isn't not being scared. It's being scared and doing it anyway. Driving home, Maya thought about those words. Being scared and doing it anyway. That's exactly what she'd been doing. Maybe the girl was right. Maybe that was brave. Back at her apartment, David walked her to the door. They stood in the hallway and he pulled her into a gentle hug. Thank you for tonight, he said. I know it wasn't easy. Thank you for not giving up on me. He pulled back slightly, looking at her seriously. The cloth was between them, as always, but his eyes held something different now. Not pity, not careful concern. Just love. Maya, I need to tell you something. Her heart raced. What? Before the accident, I was planning to propose. I had a ring. A whole plan. Then everything happened, and I thought I should wait. Give you time. Give us time, Maya's breath caught. And now? Now I realize that waiting implies something will be different in the future. That you'll be ready somehow. But the truth is, life doesn't work that way. There's never a perfect time. And I don't want to wait for perfect. I want to build a life with you, scars and all, fear and all, cloth and all. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box. Maya's hands flew to her mouth, covering the cloth. David, I'm not asking for an answer right now. I just want you to know. I want to marry you. When you're ready, if you're ready. No pressure, but I needed you to know that's where my heart is. Tears streamed down Maya's face, soaking into the cloth. I don't know if I'll ever be ready. I don't know if I'll ever be the person you deserve. You're exactly the person I deserve, and I'm asking you to let me prove that to you. Maya held the ring box in her hands for 3 days without opening it. It sat on her bedside table, a small reminder of possibilities she wasn't sure she could believe in. She wanted to say yes. Every fiber of her being wanted to say yes, but a louder voice in her head screamed that she couldn't. How could she marry David like this? How could she stand at an altar with everyone staring? How could she be a wife when she could barely be a person? She made an emergency appointment with Dr. Rachel. He proposed, Maya said, the words tumbling out. Well, sort of. He said he wants to marry me, but there's no pressure, but there's the ring, and I don't know what to do. What do you want to do? Dr. Rachel asked calmly. I want to say yes, but I can't. Why can't you? Because, Maya struggled to find words. Because what if I say yes and then he sees me, really sees me, and realizes he made a mistake? What if the reality of living with someone like me is too much? Someone like you, Dr. Rachel repeated gently. What does that mean? Someone damaged. Someone broken. Someone who wears a cloth over her face because she can't stand to look at herself. Maya, I want you to try something. I want you to finish this sentence. I'm afraid that if David really sees me, he'll see... Maya closed her eyes. He'll see a monster. The word hung in the air between them. There it was. The truth she'd been carrying for months. And you believe you're a monster? Dr. Rachel asked softly. I don't know what I am anymore. They spent the rest of the session unpacking that belief. Where it came from. How it had taken root. How Maya had let the accident convince her that her worth was tied to her appearance. Here's